The problem of power in Mandera South is a 15-year-old problem. We have a hybrid solar plant that is under construction. You look across, the problem with KPLC is not just even in Mandera. Even Wajir you go, they have huge power problems. All the counties in northern Kenya, and even ukienda hata central Kenya where you think perhaps wako na kila kitu, you will find some areas which have got a lot of challenges here, electricity. Even in Nairobi here we suffer blackouts occasionally.
Now let's move to the last issue, not the last question, it's the last issue that we'll be discussing, and that is the power outages in Mandera South. As I've told you earlier, I spoke to some of the people in your constituency, and they told me that power outage is a problem in Mandera County, but they say they feel their issue is more worse than the power outages in Mandera East. Why is it so?
I don't think that statement is correct. I think the power problem in Mandera East is worse than the power problem in Mandera South, even from the sheer population numbers. It's a problem, yes, I agree. But if you say it is worse than Mandera East, that is the point I'm disputing. I'm saying it's worse in Mandera East because of even the sheer. You see, Mandera East requires 4 megawatts. And Mandera South requires only 700 kilowatts. It's not even a megawatt.
But they are not getting even that 700 kilowatts.
No, they are getting. You see, let me tell you, the problem of power in Mandera South is a 15-year-old problem. It's a problem that has defied a lot of period. And I put it as my, commitment to end this problem with my term. And inshallah, I am very positive this problem will not go beyond this term. I thought it would be over by now, but because of a few challenges here and there, it's not over. The people of my constituency right now are on a rationing mode. Some areas receive electricity one day, the other area receives. Town dwellers, wale wanafanya biashara, receive it during the day. Wale watu wanalala kwa manyumba yao, they receive it during the night. So we've been struggling with this. And the reason is, the Kenya Power and Lighting Company had some generators there which were very old. Even when those generators were brought to Mandera South, even when the station was opened, they were not new. They were just given old generators that were being used in Mandera town. They were taken to Elwa. And those generators over the years have had problems, wear and tear, mechanical problems and what have you. So on and off for 15 years, in Arabika Leo they get repaired, Kesho they get repaired. People have been surviving like this. But the reason why those days it appeared like the problem was perhaps not much more, is because the population then and the population today is also different. There is more demand for electricity today. It's like all our lives revolve around electricity today. People who are dependent on electricity, like the mechanics, people who are dependent on electricity, like the barber shops, people who are depending on electricity, like people selling cold water drinks on their shops, people requiring electricity to power their phones and communicate, do business with their phones. They are much more than a few years ago, and therefore the problem is much more bigger.
The few business ideas that I have is, when the demand increased, the supply has to also be increased. So if the demand for electricity has increased in Mandera South, why the KPLC is not reciprocating that demand?
And this is a question we have been asking. And if you look across, the problem with KPLC is not just even in Mandera. Even Wajir you go, they have huge power problems. All the counties in northern Kenya, and even ukienda hata central Kenya where you think perhaps wako na kila kitu, you will find some areas which have got a lot of challenges here, electricity. Even in Nairobi here we suffer blackouts occasionally, sometimes for the whole night. Now, we have had these challenges for all this time. You know, in my principle and my belief, I don't like lamenting about a problem all the time. I like trying to find a solution to that problem so that it can end once and for all. Now, one of the solutions that are in the pipeline for Mandera South Constituency, we have a hybrid solar plant that is under construction. There is a hybridization program where part of the power for oil work will be supplied through solar generated power, and part of it will be supplied through the diesel engine generated power. At least 2 megawatts per hour will be provided by the solar, and 1 megawatt per hour will be provided through the diesel generators. Now, that is a project which is worth 588 million, which is ongoing. And it is the single most largest national government project we have in Mandera County today. And that project has gone 80%. We are left with only 20% to conclude. There has been a delay by the Kenya Power and Lighting Company to bring on board a consultant. You see, this is a donor-funded project. The donor demands that at every stage completed, a consultant has to come, assesses the works, and then based on the report of the consultant, the donor releases the money to the contractor. Now, the contractor has not been paid for the last phase because the consultant who was there was sacked around mid-2024. From mid-2024 mpaka today, almost 9 months, KPLC has not been able to bring another consultant on board. And mark you, this money we are talking about, this funding of 588 million shillings we are talking about, is not the funding from the exchequer, the budget from the... It is a donor fund. That money is available. It's ready. We just need to put a consultant on board who will come and assess the works that has been done. The donor releases the money and the work gets completed. So it is sheer laziness of the KPLC, sheer negligence. You know, I don't even know what to call it. 9 months to bring on board a consultant to finish up a project which has already got funding from the donor. It is something out of my mind. I don't even want to imagine what is.
Mheshimiwa, did you raise those concerns with the Minister for
I have raised with the PS. I've raised even last week. If you listen to my statement, I have a statement addressed to the government to explain to me why it has taken KPLC 9 months. That statement is going to be answered, I think, next week, because by the time I raised it, the committee requested for 2 weeks to bring the statement from the government, and that statement will be read next week. I have asked why it has taken 9 months for KPLC to recruit a consultant and when that project is supposed to end, and I expect that answer to be very convincing. Otherwise, it is something out of. So for oil work, once this project yetu imeisha, this problem will be behind us, and I that's why I said I'm not a person. My leadership style is not that style of lamenting. Ati nimekutana na hii problem hapa, itakaa tu next year, hata kama nitachaguliwa niwe tu nina complain juu ya hii. You see, what I did with the teachers is exactly what I'm doing with the power, so that we have this problem sorted once and for all.
So which areas will going to benefit from this plant? This
plant, once it is ready, the entire Elwak township will benefit, Wargadud will benefit, and Shember Fatuma will benefit, because Elwak township, Elwak town requires only 700 megawatts, and we are talking of 3,000. I mean, Elwak township requires only 700 kilowatts per hour to at its peak time, and we are talking of, once this plant is ready, we shall be having 3,000 kilowatts per hour of power. 3,000 when you require 700. You see, it's 2,300 more
than the required
than required in Elwak town. So which means we can already we have put the lines from Elwak to Wargadut. The lines are ready. The homes have been metered. So once that project is ready, it's just a matter of firing Wargadud. Wargadud will be on from day one. And then Shimbir Fatuma, it's about 65 kilometers from Elwa. We need to put the lines so that Shimbir Fatuma can also benefit from this power, because this power can reach Shimbir Fatuma. It can also reach Kutulo. We shall see. If time allows and resources allows, we shall see how we can also explore and move the power to Kutulo also, so that some line goes towards Kutulo, some line goes towards Shimbir Fatuma, and some line goes towards the Wargadud one is already complete. It is done. The lines are done. We're just waiting for the power to be ready. So it's only Shimbir Fatuma and Kutulo town.